Hey guys, how you going? My name's Susie, I'm the organised farm gal. I wasn't always a farm gal. I have been pretty organised though. So welcome to my channel. This is a little video to give you an introduction of who I am, who my family are, and hopefully get you along for the journey. So with all the COVID stuff that happened, obviously in Australia we were faced with the same kind of lockdowns as we saw around the world, and it sort of we had a bit of a discussion around how we wanted to raise our kids and whether or not we could sort of live more sustainably. So must have been about January 2022 we made the decision to move. We lived in southeast Queensland in Brisbane, which is the capital of Queensland, and so we decided to move north to live a more sort of rural lifestyle. Now, just at the tail end of the pandemic, that came with a whole host of problems. So, yeah, stick around. There's a lot to discuss. Alright, so here's a look through our previous suburban family home. We basically lived in the outskirts of Brisbane, and we bought at a pretty good time. We bought this double-storey brick home just prior to all the COVID stuff happening, and as you get a little tour around the house there, it's fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's perfectly fine. It was a lovely place to live. There was plenty of space for us all. Obviously, I was expecting another baby to add to our two kids. But we did make the decision to move rurally for a couple of reasons. You saw a little flash up of a little horse there. That's me riding. I do have a very strong love affair with horses indeed. And that sort of thing was a little bit out of reach. I would have to, if I was to buy a horse, I'd have to put it in agistment. My middle child also really loves horses as well, so we ended up selling that house and we bought this block in rural Queensland. To be perfectly honest, I couldn't see it. My partner Will was able to sort of paint a picture for me, and we could put horse paddocks at the front here, and so the front bit's all probably about 10 acres, and where it sort of swings off to the right there, we talked about maybe building our own house and building a shed and some additional paddocks and stables and maybe getting some sheep. But yeah, look, it had this beautiful creek out the back. That was probably the thing that sold me the most. I thought it was beautiful. But just going and seeing the actual block itself, as you can see here in the clip, it's just this grassland of, actually it turned out to be rat's tail, which is an interesting, there's my boy, oh he's so beautiful, that's Will. And there's my middle child as well. But yeah, so he took us down to the creek, and the creek was what sold it to me, but it just turned out to be this block of African rat's tail, which is this noxious weed. So there's going to be stay tuned, there'll be another video on that, because God, that's hard to get rid of. But here's some footage of the creek where I was like, this is actually quite pretty. We could do a lot with it. There's the little fella. He was only a couple of months old at this point. But yeah, hard to kind of imagine at this point how we were going to create anything out of this. It's all sort of, it's been sort of harrowed extensively, and it's quite, the whole thing kind of needs to be leveled. There's absolutely no fencing. There's not much of anything. So this was probably one of the most daunting things ever. The house ended up selling in February, and we ended up buying that block. So that's the first step in the journey, and that's kind of where we're up to. The block has been purchased. We started all the infrastructure in March of 2022. So this clip is where we've come from. Stay tuned for the next clips on what we've managed to achieve, and wanted to introduce you to the first lot of farm animals we bought. So thanks for tuning in. Leave your thoughts, your comments, especially as the video series continues. Gosh, we need all the advice we can get. If you live rurally or you are involved in farming, let us know the best ways that you go about things, because for us, like, well, me, I have no idea what I'm doing. So yeah, thanks again. Like and subscribe.